How to stop eating the same meals over and over again. I get so many people asking me whether it's okay to be eating the same meal every single day or like multiple times a week. And I also get people asking me, how do I switch it up? I want to be able to eat different meals, but I only know how to cook like one meal and I'm eating that one all the time. How can I eat more varied? Is it okay to eat the same thing all the time? So first, let's start off with addressing whether it's okay to actually eat the same meals all the time. And the answer to this, as to with most things nutrition, is it depends. First of all, it depends on what your idea of all the time is. I mean, if you're eating the exact same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single meal, then yes, that is not a good idea. That is not nutritionally balanced, and I would advise against it. However, if your idea of all the time is eating the same meal, maybe like 4 to 6 times a week or having pretty similar meals every day, then that's fine. I absolutely encourage variety and eating different sources of macros for every single meal, but of course eating the same meals or similar meals comes with certain benefits. And actually eating the same or similar meals at the beginning of your healthy eating journey can be a good way to build confidence as you start to master these meals and know what is healthy, what and balanced, and what is less healthy and balanced, and until you're ready to venture out and try different meals and different ingredients you've maybe never cooked with before. And this is really going to help you not be overwhelmed with a ton of different recipe ideas right when you first start, because decision fatigue is a very real thing. And by decision fatigue, I mean having so many decisions to make, so many choices to make, that you feel overwhelmed and end up making the wrong choice. And decision fatigue can totally be applied to eating. I mean, if you're trying to come up with meal ideas 3 times a day, 7 times a week, if you are overwhelmed with recipe ideas, you're scrolling through dozens and dozens and dozens of recipe ideas. If then you go to the grocery store and you're staring at like thousands of potential ingredients, then of course this can all become very overwhelming. Then you go home and you have to choose between all the stuff that you do have, and it can just lead to being paralyzed. When you have all these different options, it's hard to just pick one, and it's hard to do that repeatedly. So eating similar meals can definitely help alleviate this burden of decision making. Again, it's all a matter of balance. If you're eating the same dinner 5 times a week, but the rest of your meals are all varied and balanced, then there's no problem. But if you're eating the same meal 24/7, the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day, all the time, then yes, you're putting yourself at risk for nutritional deficiencies, and that's not the healthiest thing to do. It's also important to ask yourself your intent behind all of this. Is it because it's just convenient for you, or is it because you're scared of leaving your safe foods? Is it out of fear foods? You're fearing certain foods, so you would rather eat the same thing every single day. And if it's the latter, then I would really suggest trying to do some work on improving your relationship with food. Then it may also just be out of convenience. Maybe you want to be eating a variety of food, but maybe you just don't know how. Maybe you're eating the same meals on repeat because they're the only healthy meals you know how to make, and you'd like some tips on how to eat more varied and not eat the same things all the time. And here are my best tips for that. How to stop eating the same thing all the time. My first tip would be to start out with small things. You don't want to change every single meal and your entire way of cooking all of a sudden. You have to start with some small things and implement them little by little until you're able to add more variety to your meal catalog. For instance, you can start with a small goal of learning how to make one new meal for the week, and then once you've mastered that meal, you can add it to your meal rotation, and then as time goes on, you can make more and more new meals and use them to replace the past meals that have always been the same. And another thing you can do is to commit to having one day in your schedule, or at least like one meal, where you decide to try something new, a new recipe, a new restaurant, new foods, a new way of cooking things, a new ingredient, whatever you want. It just has to be something that you don't usually have. And another way to start small is to pick an ingredient that you like and you know how to cook, and then learn to cook it in different ways and incorporate it in different recipes. For instance, if you like spinach, then instead of cooking it as you usually do with like rice and tofu, you can learn to make a spinach spinach quiche, or you can learn to make a big salad that has spinach in it. Or spinach smoothie. Like, there's tons of different ways to cook one ingredient. Mix and match your basics. So what I really recommend doing is learning how to cook different types of basic ingredients, which you maybe already know how to do. And then once you've kind of mastered that individually, you can mix and match them. So for instance, if you're able to cook different types of grains like pasta or rice or quinoa or bulgur or buckwheat, and then if you're also able to cook different types of protein like chickpeas, lentils, tofu, edamame, tempeh, eggs, fish, meat, and then if you're able to cook any type of vegetable that you like, then these are your basics, and then it can be fun to learn to mix and match them. The thing is, you're probably used to cooking them with the same thing every single time. Like, you're probably used to having your rice with your broccoli and your chicken. So a fun little activity that I would suggest doing is making a list of each ingredient in their category. So you can pick the categories, but for instance, one that makes sense to me would be having all your grains, where you're gonna get the carbs, mainly the healthy carb sources, and then you can have a protein category, and then you can have maybe a vegetable category, something like that. And then write down every single ingredient. You can even cut them out and then tape them on your fridge, and that way you can kind of have this game where you mix and match different ingredients with each other, and you'll probably come up with different recipe ideas. And you can also probably find a place to randomize these things online, where you just have the different ingredients, randomize them. It'll give you some ideas. Learn to make different sauces and seasonings. Another thing you need to learn how to do is to mix up your sauces or your spices, your seasonings, everything like that. Mastering sauces and seasonings can offer multiple different recipes for a single dish. Mastering different sauces, different seasoning, adding different herbs, that could really help you transform meals that are otherwise pretty similar. For instance, making a coconut curry sauce for rice and veggies, and then making a tomato pesto sauce for rice and slightly different veggies could be an idea, and will give you a different meal experience. Learn to balance out your plates. A common reason that may lead to eating the same types of meals all the time is that you feel like you've mastered one or two meals and that you know how to balance them out, but you don't know how to do that with every single meal. So you're kind of scared to try new meals, and you're afraid that everything isn't going to be balanced. And an easy way to get over that is to try my plate method. And I have entire videos on creating a healthy plate that you can check out right here or in the description. But really, in short, it's all about filling half of your plate with veggies, 1/4 of your plate with protein, and 1/4 of your plate with carbs. And another really easy way to try and have a more balanced plate is to try the color technique, where basically you want to put as much color on your plate as possible, because if you're getting different colorful ingredients, then you're most likely getting different nutrients, different antioxidants, and it can be a fun way to kind of build your plate and make it really visually appealing as well, which can also help. Change the toppings. We all have our go-to meals where we eat the exact same thing because it's convenient, easy, we know we like it, and we just don't want to change it. And we don't want to spend time trying to come up with something new. And an easy way to switch that up is to add different toppings or change up some of the ingredients, all while maintaining the same basis for the meal. If you like oatmeal, for instance, and you always have the same oatmeal with banana and peanut butter and coconut powder, then maybe on one day you can switch it up, and instead you can have almond butter and macadamia nuts and raspberries, and on another day you can have blueberries with maple syrup and walnuts. There are tons of possibilities, and you can switch up the toppings all while maintaining your comfort oatmeal that you love. If you like to snack on different fruits and nuts, switch up the fruits and the nuts. And if you like to have different salads, switch up the ingredients in there. And same thing for sandwiches and for smoothies and for rice bowls or pasta bowls, things like that. Make meal searching easy and fun. Finally, another way to make sure that you're eating a variety of meals and that you're not always sticking to the same thing is to make meal searching actually fun and easy. For instance, one of my favorite ways to find recipes is to use Pinterest. I just scroll on Pinterest for pleasure, and then whenever I find a recipe that looks good and that doesn't seem too hard and that has ingredients that I can actually get easily, I save it, and that's where I get a lot of my ideas. And another thing I like to do is to just type in like the ingredients that I have and like find random recipes for those ingredients. And I also like to use different apps where I can select the ingredients that I like and like the utensils that I have, and based on that it will give me some like recipe ideas. And I also find great meal ideas by watching other people's what I eat in a day videos or their TikToks or whatever. Basically anything that isn't like super boring, like getting out a big dusty cookbook with no pictures and trying to follow a recipe from there. Trying to just make things fun, and that will make you more likely to actually do it. And if you'd like an entire video on how to find meals, meal ideas, recipes, using cookbooks, things like that, I know I've gotten some requests to do that, so let me know and I can definitely put that on my list. In short, while eating the same meal pretty often isn't necessarily a bad thing, there are a few easy ways to help you kind of switch it up and add in more variety. You can learn to cook different ingredients and mix and match them, have fun building your plates with different colors or changing out the toppings, incorporate new ingredients to meals little by little, or make sure that meal searching for new recipes is actually fun and something you can commit to. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Bye.